A suspect in a deadly Fort shooting is now in custody. We'll have the latest on the investigation coming up.
And it's a little bit cooler this morning after that cold front from yesterday. Overall, another really nice day today. We'll talk about your weekend forecast coming up.
And tragedy on the Hudson, what we know about a deadly helicopter crash that killed a pilot and a family of 5.
The first live look outside in Bentonville for you. Happy Friday. Thanks for waking up with us. 5 News This Morning starts now.
Covering news where you live. This is 5 News This Morning.
Good morning. We made it to Friday. We're going to hit that weekend. Just one more work or school day.
One more, guys. It's halfway over for us.
I was about to say, what do you mean one more?
Sorry for all of you at home that are just about to start your day.
And the best news is you get some good weather going into the weekend.
Yeah, after last weekend where it was basically just ruined the weekend, where it was rainy and gloomy, you couldn't even get outside. This weekend, probably going to notice a lot of people are going to be outside. All right, let's take a look at what we're tracking out there over the next couple of days. Much cooler for today, again, because that cold front that we had yesterday making this morning and this afternoon just a little bit cooler. Not overly concerning, though. By the time we get to this afternoon, still 60s and 70s out there. This weekend, Saturday, going to be pretty similar for what we have for today, temperature-wise, and still lots of sunshine. But Sunday, going to be very windy outside. We're talking about wind gusts near 40 miles per hour. Going to be significantly warmer for the end of the weekend as well. Monday is when that next cold front is going to arrive. Current temperatures out there right now, starting off into the 40s and 50s, really across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Really nice heading out the door this morning. You might just notice, yeah, it is a little bit cooler than it was from yesterday. About 5 to 10 degree difference so far. I think you really feel it though by the time you get to this afternoon. Much cooler than what we had for yesterday, where we were in the 70s and 80s. Northwest Arkansas the rest of the day today. Plenty of sunshine all day long, but those daytime highs only reaching up into the mid 60s by the time we get late this afternoon. Across the River Valley, only reaching up into those low 70s. Again, tomorrow going to be pretty similar, but then Sunday, windy and warm outside by the end of the weekend. Let's take a look at traffic so far this morning. Here's a live look there over Walton Boulevard there in Rogers. Good morning to you. Traffic is on the move this morning. Good morning to you there. No accidents to report back to you. That drive into work looks great.
We see a lot of kids here every day, and I take a lot of really good care of my families, and they're really important to me. And this is something that while we knew it was coming, is still really hard to prepare for.
Well, members of the medical community have been watching the measles cases in Texas rise. Now 2 cases have been confirmed in Arkansas, one in Saline County, the other in Faulkner. The ADH saying that both cases involve pediatric patients who were unvaccinated and tested positive after traveling out of the state. But the health department says no exposures have been identified at daycares or schools. Measles cases, though, are also happening in other states around the U.S.
Oklahoma has seen at least 8 cases, and the state health department says that measles exposures were confirmed in Tulsa and Rogers counties. Now, Texas is reporting the most cases with over 500, including 2 young children who were not vaccinated and died from measles-related illnesses. Earlier this week, Hawaii confirmed the first case of measles in the state this year.
And the best way to prevent an outbreak has already been said, and we'll reiterate a few times, is to have a high community vaccination rate.
You know what I've always said during my campaign and every public statement I've made, I'm not going to take people's vaccines away from them. Right. What I'm going to do is make sure that we have good science so that people can make an informed choice.
Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has expressed support for the measles vaccine. However, he says that the government should not mandate it.
Nearly 100 days into her new role, Fayetteville Mayor Molly Ron is sharing what the transition has been like and what she's prioritizing moving forward.
5 News reporter Morgan Wrigley sat down with her one-on-one and joins us now with what she learned. Good morning, Morgan.
Good morning, Tiffany and Joe. Mayor Ron tells me as she approaches 100 days in office, she's feeling energized. She says she loves her job, she loves her team that she works with, and she feels that they've accomplished a lot in the first 100 days. Now, since taking office, Mayor Ron tells me she is focused on solutions to the city's biggest challenges, starting with housing. She says for that, there's not one magic solution, but it's numerous small changes that make a difference. She's already added staff to the planning department, aiming to cut down wait times for developers and make building more affordable. She says she's also planning some changes to the city's housing task force to be more clear about its goals and who the task force is serving. Another big thing that we talked about was Fayetteville's growth. Along with the new downtown master plan, she says there are some key things in the works that will help the city manage its growth.
Can't talk about growth without talking about infrastructure. And so it's one of the reasons that I have gone ahead and previewed to people of Fayetteville that I do expect to bring a bond initiative forward in 2026 that is really infrastructure heavy and making sure that our water and sewer systems can meet are up to date, are taken care of, are functioning at the highest capacity that they can be.
Well, there's so much more that we talked about, but one of the main things that she said is her focus is she wants to continue working towards making Fayetteville a city for everyone. Live in Fayetteville, covering news where you live, Morgan Wrigley, 5 News.
All right, thank you, Morgan. Well, the man accused of shooting and killing 2 people at a Fort Smith bar is being held at the Sebastian County Jail. Police say that they found Napesh Rosh at a home along North 38th Street near Tillis Park. Brian Jones and Todd Jewell were rushed to the hospital Wednesday night and died from their injuries.
Ruback is now facing 2 charges of first-degree murder. 5 News reporter Kayla Davis has been following this story and has the latest.
At around 7:40 Wednesday evening, Fort Smith police arrived at the Foxfire Club where Brian Jones and Todd Jewell were found shot outside. They were immediately taken to the hospital where police say they later died from their injuries. The owner says the suspect has never allowed guns in his club and his top priority for his customers and staff is safety.
Posted no firearms, but now it's looking like I'm going to have to bring my metal detector down here and keep it in this bar because with this going on, you know, there ain't no telling who else thinks they can get away bringing a gun in here.
At around 3 p.m. Thursday evening, Fort Smith police say they found Ruback inside a nearby home on 38th Street. He then tried to run away. They did catch him, and he is now in custody. In Fort Smith, covering news where you live, Kayla Davis, 5 News.
Well, continuing coverage this morning, we're learning Arkansas state lawmakers will not vote again on that $750 million appropriations bill to support construction of a 3,000-bed prison in Franklin County. Senate President Bart Hester from Cave Springs tells 5 News that he does not plan to call a vote again on the prison funding unless he has 27 members ask him to. The bill has failed in the Senate 5 times after concerns over the prison project's price tag. People in Franklin County have also strongly opposed the project, claiming that the governor's office and Board of Corrections never talked to them about it before it was announced last October.
Every time it failed, it was another time that the people have said, no, we don't want this project to move forward in its current iteration. Whether you support a prison, whether you don't, that's a debate for a different day. But this project, the way that it stands now and the way that they've tried to bring it about, is not right for Arkansas.
Hester says he does not anticipate a special session to be called over this. Well, we did reach out to the governor's office and they sent us this statement saying that the governor continues to stand with those in support of addressing the state's prison bed shortage and keeping dangerous criminals out of communities.
Well, high school athletes are facing new regulations if they're looking to transfer schools. A new law signed by Governor Sanders requires that students transferring schools after June 1st before their sophomore year to sit out of varsity athletics for a full year. The law creates uniform standards for homeschooled as well as public, private, and charter school students. Backers of the new law say that the number of transfers they were seeing was unintended consequence of the state school choice policy.
It paints a broad picture for every school, no matter what their affiliation is as far as public, non-public, charter school, etc. Everyone has the same set of rules. We've seen what the transfer portal has done to college athletics. We've all seen the effect that the transfer portal has at the NCAA level. And the last thing we need is the transfer portal in high school sports in Arkansas.
The Arkansas Athletics Association says that there are certain hardship exceptions that allow students to transfer schools without having to sit out. But those will all be reviewed on a case-by-case basis and will not be the norm.
Well, this morning, we're learning more about the tragic tour helicopter crash that happened in the Hudson River near New Jersey. 6 people, the pilot and a family of tourists, died on Thursday. We do want to warn you that some images in the story may be disturbing. Now, video shows that the helicopter it tumbled out of the sky and then plunged into the river. Witnesses say they saw the tourist chopper break apart mid-air just seconds before the crash.
Propeller just exploded and scattered, right? And then after that, we saw the plane was just spiraling down.
According to the NYPD, flight tracking data shows the Bell 206 aircraft was being used by the tour company New York Helicopter. It took off from downtown Manhattan just before 3 p.m. and was in the air for less than 20 minutes. The head of New York Helicopter says that they leased the chopper from a company based in Louisiana. He did decline to discuss its inspection record. CBS News New York has learned that the victims were Augustine Escobar, an executive at technology company Siemens, his wife, and their 3 children visiting the U.S. from Spain. The National Transportation Safety Board and FAA are now investigating.